name is Maria. I work in eBay Classifieds Group. Yeah, I hope you won't be disappointed with this presentation. I'm going to talk today about how to manage ASO for more than 10 apps across different markets and different teams. So we're going to cover today actually how to build your ASO infrastructure, how to pick tools, how to build communication with your teams. I will also share with you a few cases and a few tips because we want some actionable value from these speeches, right? So let's start with infrastructure. So when I just joined 6 months ago, one of my priority tasks was to establish and kind of reinvent the ASO process for all of our markets, which are more than 7 and around 10 apps, I think even more. So those apps includes the biggest classified in Germany, eBay Kleinanzeigen. We have also few apps under Gumtree brand in UK, Australia, and South Africa. Also few products under Kijiji brand in Canada and few products in Benelux. So there's a lot. And when you actually think about ASO infrastructure, you can split it in kind of 3 big chunks. So first one would be your external team. Usually it's ASO agency or a consultancy. Your internal team like brand, design, product, and also the third, and I think one of most sometimes neglected, is ASO analytics, which means like some third-party independent analytics tool. So if we dive in each of those and start with ASO agency, I know there might be some skepticism, but after multiple years working in different companies and different products, I'm still a believer that if you can have it, it's better to have it, because sometimes it looks like you've tested everything, you've tried everything, and you know everything, but usually like the industry moves so fast that sometimes it's hard to keep up with the trends. So why would you need one? Especially if we're talking about the portfolio of different products, agency will of course streamline the working process and admin stuff for you and for all the products. But the most important is that, especially if the agency is a big one and they work with lots of clients from different industries, they will serve you as a center of best practices and knowledge and generate lots of testing ideas. This was proved multiple times, even during past 6 months that I've been working in eBay. How would you pick one? So first of all, of course, there should be an agency that can provide the full service, like everything, including metadata, keyword analysis, description, all kinds of assets, and of course analytics. It's a must-have that this vendor should be able to build for you like customized dashboard specifically for your products and for your KPIs. Another thing that is pretty critical, especially if you have products for different markets or your product is global and you work in different locales, is resources to support multi-language localization, meaning providing all the materials in needed language and quickly, like without any delays. But one of the most important thing is to, before you start working with external teams, you need to have a clear KPIs, because this was, I've seen it multiple times, when you work for 3 months, for 6 months, and then the agency presents you like QBR or some kind of a report on all the steps that you've taken together, all the tests, and in the end you're like, and so what? Like, what was moved? Like, where's the impact? So this is a really important one. Moving to internal teams, I think lots of you will have those flashbacks that I have in the quotes here, because every time, especially if you're just joining a new company and you start to kind of proposing different tests and ideas, that's what you might hear from different stakeholders across the board. Like we've tested it already. Why are we doing this? I don't like your screenshots. I'm not going to put it in our release. So, but I think like 50% of your success with ASO would be to onboard all of your internal stakeholders and account on their help and support. For that, first of all, it's important to explain what is ASO, what are you plan to do, what impact are you expecting? How this impact or those results will affect the teams, your internal teams, and how they can contribute and benefit from the process. And also manage expectations, because ASO is not something, it's not like paid acquisition where you just see result instantly. So yeah, you have to be patient and just manage expectations with your internal teams. I've split them in these kind of 3 groups, but yeah, it could be different. But anyway, starting with brand and design, it's very important to be on board in terms of tone of voice and brand guidelines. And also some companies, they look at app storefront a bit different. So they try to use it as a brand platform and communicate brand messages to the audiences. The next one is communications and paid digital. So for sure, you need to know what creatives are used in paid acquisition, because first of all, you can take some ideas like what works best and implement it in your screenshots, but also it's just a good practice to have a holistic approach across different assets. But the most important is to understand what are the plans throughout the year, like when can you expect increase in organic traffic because of increased budgets or major media campaigns offline and online. Very important factor when you're evaluating your tests. And the third kind of theme is product and development. And here I think the most important thing is to explain why the description looks like this, why there's lots of keywords and what you're trying to achieve with this. Because yeah, sometimes ASO optimized description might be not that user friendly. And the last part of ASO infrastructure is this third-party analytics tool. So as you know, ASO services are not the cheapest services on the market. So usually when you try to secure ASO budget, your management would look at this like that, like, okay, we're just putting money somewhere that is not very transparent, not very measurable. So here, third-party ASO analytics can help you. And it will serve you as a source of truth, both for managing your external team, like agency, and also showcasing the results to your internal stakeholders. Usually those tools are built by people who either worked in ASO before or worked in data analytics and data visualization. So usually it's better and honestly cheaper option to just onboard external tool than start building it internally from scratch. And how would you pick one? Because there is a plethora of different solutions on the market at the moment. I think each of those have their own edge, and usually depends on how much resources internally you have for ASO. Is it like, do you have a few other people who can support with keyword research, or is just you and you kind of combine this role with something else? So kind of overall business analytics would be enough for you. You will also need to understand what is the measurement, because the key kind of idea of all those tools is that they're coming up with their own metrics and calculations behind them. So yeah, it's very good to understand what actually those metrics are. And of course, easy API integration, which is, I think nowadays it just must have, so you can integrate it easily in your Slack. So after all the vendors are picked, all teams are onboarded, what's next? This is the time when you have to brainstorm for the ideas for everything that you want to test. After that, and build a backlog of those ideas. After that, you have to define a testing cadence, and this usually should be according to the release calendar. And after that, on top of these two things, you can develop your roadmap for each quarter. It's very important because you have to take into account seasonality, major media activities, and just it will be transparent for you and for your team, and just streamline the process. So enough with theory. Yeah, next few case studies. So this is something that we've tested in with Gumtree UK last year, somewhere in the beginning of the lockdown, and so the Gumtree brand decided to support the community and all UK users with Stay Home campaign, and we decided to adapt this and implement on our screenshots. And I think this was the most successful test in 2020, because for the mature brands with huge organic audience and strong brand, it's usually very hard to shift conversion rate that significantly only with the screenshots. So what are the key takeaways here? Don't forget about seasonality. Use occasions and events in your screenshots, but make it relevant to your product, because if there is a football championship and you have kind of, I don't know, a fashion app or I don't know, makeup app, it might be not very obvious, but it could be. Yeah, and try to tie it to other marketing communication that you have. And the first case study was the live test. The second one is something that we've tested with Kijiji Autos. It's car classified in Canada. And this test was conducted on a platform that allows you to test screenshots using paid acquisition channels. Sorry. So the idea here was to, at the moment we had the screenshots that was trying to emphasize like the main feature request from the users, like ease of use. And we decided to change it to the dealer message. But before we conducted this test where we tried to understand, okay, how the design itself would impact the ease of use message. And also we've added, just for, you know, kind of for fun, this this test option with the dealers. And because it was one of our main intentions at the moment to kind of drive the dealer leads, yeah, actually the design for that one was the simplest one, and it won. And actually, like, the main key takeaway is that don't overload your screenshots with lots of details. User will look just a glance on your screenshots, and yeah, it's better to have clear message, clear representation. Just keep it simple. Don't overload with information. And a few tips that you can utilize right away, even if you don't have any analytics tool or internal or external team. So the first one will be suitable for description in Google Play. This is a Google natural language API, and it's not a surprise that Google would use the same tool to analyze your description as it does on the main search platform. So this demo tool can analyze small samples of text, which is perfect for your store description. And there are 4 main areas that this tool will be looking at, but 2 of them are the most important for ASO. So the first one is categories. So especially when you have a very niche app, or in this iteration, you try to focus on a specific category and you start to load the text with different relevant keywords, you might find that Google actually starts to categorize your app differently, and this can impact your rankings pretty harshly. The second one is entities. So this one will kind of analyze the keywords in the sentence and keywords in the text itself. To basically, the main purpose would be to understand that, okay, are those keywords random, or are they makes any sense together? And here, the most interesting thing for you would be to check salience of your keywords, especially your most important keywords. Because if it's low, it means that you might want to kind of tweak a bit your description. And moving to App Store. This one is a very basic trick, but yeah, I think it will be valuable for the audience. So the first one, the first thing that you can utilize in Apple Search Ads is search popularity feature, where you can identify the popular keywords. Note here, especially when you're working on different locales, that of course the popularity score will be might be very similar from market to market, but the number of impressions, like potential impressions, would differ a lot depending on the size of the locale and size of the market. So after you identify the popular keywords, you can dig a bit deeper, and if you have any campaigns live already, you can, especially discovery campaigns, you can try to search for, to look at search match tab in those campaigns. They will show you the actual queries that triggered your ad impression. So again, it is very useful if you're working on a niche app and you kind of it will seem that you have all keywords that you have think of in your keyword title, in your keyword field, but yeah, this is a good way to pick more ideas regarding the keywords. And to the key takeaways. So I know that this part might be a bit boring, like it's the process, not the building something, but it is very important, especially yeah, emphasizing that if you have a portfolio of apps, this kind of foundation will make your life much easier and more transparent and easier to create different tests and compare the results. So please pay attention to your ASO infrastructure, even if you can't have a consultancy and all the tools at once set up, but start with small. Especially analytics tools, they're not very cheap, but they will give you so much insights. Like it's really a key if you're doing ASO. And also the roadmap, because I've seen this also multiple times when there are talented teams, like everything is set up, but the iterations and the tests are, at some month there will be 10 tests, next month no tests. So yeah, you have to be consistent, and roadmap can help you with that. That's it from me. Thank you. I hope this was valuable, and please yeah, ask your questions in the chat.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Maria. That was really good. Lots of good data in there and good details. So thank you. Okay, so we do have a few questions, so I think we will try and take them if that's all right. So,
sure.
All right. So first question. Well, Lauren is asking, what third-party ASO analytics tools do you recommend? Controversial question, or what have you used in the past? So, I mean, can you give us a bit more detail? We know there's a lot. They're good for different people, different things, but can you name names?
Yeah, well, I think I don't want to, give someone an advantage among those tools, but we were using AppFollow, and in different companies that I've been working in, and they're very experienced, and yeah, they can guide you with not only like providing the tool and that's it, but yeah, just helping with some kind of advice. So yeah, can recommend them.
Okay, great. And Stefan is asking, how do you decide which app to put your focus on since you've got limited resources and time?
This is a great question. Well, of course, I'm trying to evaluate the current position in the market for each app and understand where the opportunity lies. Because some apps, they are so huge. For example, eBay Kleinanzeigen, it's massive in Germany, and it looks like even extensive iterations wouldn't shift this app or the metrics significantly.
Great. And we have a question from Mirso, who took part in App Promotion Summit Berlin. Good to see you, Mirso. Thanks for joining us again. It's the circle of life. We have speakers. Now he's asking questions. He says, how do you look at reviews as part of ASO?
The reviews?
Reviews. Does that have any weighting, or App Store reviews?
Okay. Yeah, so we have I understand the question. So we have a customer support kind of team, and they are responsible for the reviews and for taking all the feedback and different complaints. So yeah, this is I think, especially when you have large app, it's the least area that you can impact, to be honest.
Right.
But it's a very important one.
Okay. And so you're not doing anything to prompt people to review, or
yeah, of course we have the prompts within
right.
the app for the users to leave the feedback, especially for classified services products. It's very important because trust is one of our main, like very difficult part to tackle.
And what are the customer service team actually doing then? Responding, managing complaints, and yeah,
managing complaints and asking users to maybe change their review from, I don't know, 2, 3 stars to 5 stars if that was helpful.
Okay, and Thomas is asking, he's a growth marketer. He is asking, how do you test Apple Store page? Do you use insights from Google Play and deploy them on the App Store? Apple Store, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one approach. The second approach is to use different vendors that allows you to test screenshots before you put them live. And usually those tests, they're pretty precise.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's a really great session, and thanks for sharing a bit of an insight into your role there. And it seems like you've got your hands full, but it's also leading some great insights, having to manage all these different apps. So, I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us today and sharing. We have a full day of App Store optimization and App Store marketing content going on next week. On Tuesday, we've got 8 different workshops. Some of the tool providers also joining, so we'll be covering going quite deep on that. I think it's going to be quite a lot of different sessions. So if you're into organic app marketing and ASO and Apple search ads, then hopefully join us on Tuesday. Let's give a big virtual hand to Maria. And
thank you
thanks
for having me.
Great. All right. Next up, we've got ITV, and they're talking about some app UX case study. So see you there.
Yep. Bye-bye.